Good day and welcome to Telematics, a proof of success in partnership with Fleet Europe. Hi, I'm Jonathan Bates, MiX Telematics Executive Vice President of Marketing. Been with MiX for 9 years, working in senior marketing and product management functions. And prior to joining MiX, I was with PSA Peugeot Citroën in the European light commercial vehicle sector for over 7 years, working across the board in different functions, including marketing, product management, customer success, dealer network development, and legal. And now today, over around the next 17 minutes, we're going to be analyzing how video telematics is helping to transform fleet safety in Europe, with a particular focus on 2 core topics. Number 1, why video is becoming a game changer for fleet safety. And number 2, some valuable lessons that I and my business has learned over 9 years of partnering with major organizations all over Europe. And those lessons then can be applied to successful procurement, deployment, and ongoing sustainability of acquiring a technology solution to help improve fleet safety. And at the end of the session, I've developed a checklist for you that you can take away following the session that will help you with that procurement exercise. So let's jump straight in and look at what's so special about video. And to answer that question, I just want us to think about how our relationship with the internet and data has developed over the years. Now, the first few years of the internet were pretty much video free, really for the simple reason that video files were huge in comparison at the time and the web just couldn't handle them. But in the last 15 years, bandwidth for video has exploded 100-fold. And suddenly here we are today where humanity watches over 108 million hours of YouTube videos every day. And 84% of the internet's data is video. And of course, video is high bandwidth for a reason. It packs in this huge amount of information and our human brains are uniquely wired to decode it. And as we all know from our personal and professional lives, there's a worldwide video-driven evolution of skills happening, whether that's people watching instructional TikTok videos, Instagram videos, YouTube videos. But in the fleet world, video is always more powerful than simply looking at raw data on driver scoring, for example, to share and understand an idea, to decode a moment. And there's a lot more happening and being transferred through video than just words and numbers. And it's my belief that it's in that non-verbal portion of communication where there's some serious magic going on that we can use to our advantage. Somewhere hidden in the situational context, in the facial expressions, in the body language, you're literally seeing reality replayed in front of you. And a few seconds at a time is all you need to tell this very rich story as to what's really happening. So now we know that video is powerful, very, very powerful. And now let's have a look at why it's actually powerful when leveraged as an agent in positive change of fleet safety. Now, multiple studies all around the world, and most of all in Europe, by players like the European Transport Safety Council, like Brake, the road safety charity, and ROSPA, and many, many others, they all concur that more than 85% of road collisions are actually caused by human error. Now, to be able to do something about this requires every organization as the primary starting point, the first square on the board, to first have visibility of the cause and effect of those collisions. And if we take causal analysis at a macro level, there are some trends that we can see. And firstly, we can see that at least 10% of all collisions are actually down to fatigue. 25% of collisions, at least 25% are due to distraction. And that number actually rises starkly to over 70% when specifically looking at truck collisions. And of course, we're all aware that speeding is also another major causal factor. Thus, we arrive at the conclusion that our first reason for video being a game changer is that video provides us with that first square on the board, that visibility of these events, which of course is the first step on a longer journey to then being able to manage them and to overcome them and to ensure a decreasing trajectory of occurrences. And leveraging that video into analysis in software then gives us the second component, the capacity to organize the information into meaningful insights and trends. And thirdly, video gives us then the building blocks for the capability to engage and coach drivers to motivate that transformative change in behavior that is absolutely crucial to collision reduction. Now, as second reason for video emerging as a particularly important factor now is actually an eminently practical reason. The first generation of video assisted us with what I'd call a classical driver focus, i.e. a focus on driver performance with automated visibility into events such as harsh acceleration, harsh braking, harsh cornering and overspeeding. And of course, this is extremely useful and still highly relevant today, and it will continue to be for the foreseeable future. Yet we have to admit that it does not provide us with the full picture, as those driver performance behaviors are often more like symptoms and consequence of an underlying behavior or state, like fatigue and distraction. And therefore, they're not necessarily or definitively the actual cause of an incident. So we need to go deeper. And of course, then with the advent of accurate machine vision technology, we arrive at the capability for a more causative diagnosis and not merely looking at the symptoms. The auditory, visual, and cognitive distractions become possible to discern through the way that machine vision is able to understand, categorize, and represent that human behavior into causal analysis of an event. Ergo, for things like driver fatigue and yawning and distracted driver and phone use, we're able to capture those now as events, and we get the visibility in the building blocks that we can then use for analysis and subsequent counteraction of the key root causes of collisions. And that evolution in technology now enables ever deeper risk management with events like seatbelt removal detection whilst driving, smoking detection, and physical covering of the camera now also being available to capture. Furthermore, the technology for advanced driver assistance has also become possible to incorporate into one single unified video solution. Now, this means that for vehicles that don't already come equipped from their manufacturer as standard with features such as following distance monitoring, forward collision and lane departure warning capabilities, all of these factors can be merged into the same solution as the events that we just saw in the preceding slides. Altogether, this gives us an unparalleled visibility of the richest set of data of what a driver is actually going through during their driver experience, both in the cab and outside of the vehicle, all through this automated event engine. And this really brings me on to why this has become a significant technology advancement right now. And to look at that, we need to look a little bit back into the past. And we can see it was undoubtedly much harder to deploy this kind of technology into a fleet operation before, because actually the technology itself and the providers thereof were quite fragmented. In years gone by, a fleet operator would have had to deal with multiple technology vendors, multiple tech stacks, and multiple software platforms to get all of the benefits of that driver performance video, fatigue and distraction video, and advanced driver assistance video. And it wouldn't have been in one place. And logically, it stands its common sense that this is far from ideal, because outcomes then become just as diluted as the fragmented pieces that are trying to help you. And that then leads to a non-optimized customer experience, and not to mention it's costly and impractical. But now today, it is possible to get all of that technology from one single partner, in one single tech stack, and in one single platform. This means the data received is covalent and it's cost effective to deploy the solution. And furthermore, the customer experience is refined and smooth and streamlined. This unification of experience and unification of investment therefore maximizes the benefit realization for a fleet operator. combined with an effective and motivational driver engagement experience, which we will touch upon in more detail shortly, solutions like this are proven to reduce driver risk, meaning fewer collisions and the severity thereof, the minimization of costs associated to driving risk, and overall business outcome improvements to environmental sustainability, brand reputation, and competitive advantage. But most importantly of all, and I can't stress this enough, driving safety is massively, massively enhanced. And this is borne out time and time again in the case studies we see in our telematics industry, with collisions commonly reduced by 60% and even more in the case of really elite performing fleets with a core safety culture at their heart. The consequential cost and insurance benefits are significant, but maybe the most important factor is the ongoing and sustainable capability to coach drivers in safe driving practices effectively and over the long term, and not just in that honeymoon period just after technology adoption. This 17 minutes is just far too short of a time to fully explore all of the detail behind these figures, but the proof of them is in the many case studies that describe exactly the journey that fleet operators have been on and are going on every day to optimize their safety practices, with the effective implementation of this kind of technology a key component in their arsenal. If you'd like to see some more of these results in detail, I've provided my contact details at the conclusion of today's pack. And now I want to just flip the conversation slightly moving forward and look at some of the lessons that I personally and my business have learned over being involved in the procurement and effective implementation of video solutions over the last 9 years and more. Number one, a fundamental resistance to change is commonly built into the very psychology of how us as human beings typically behave. Technology usually changes at a much faster rate than people and ergo organizations. But elite organizations can and do change faster by anticipating and capitalizing on those innovations faster than anyone else. And what I've observed time and time again is that when an organization has an underlying culture of safety in place already, that culture is leveraged to overpower the natural reticence to change. Our most successful customers are the ones that win awards for safety are the ones invariably at the front of the queue for new technology. The other thing I want to add is that I've learned something that sounds a little reductive, but distilling the potential outcomes into concise scenarios does help with decision making. And in the context of safety, there is really no mild way to put it. There are 3 scenarios I see, and scenario 1 is the proactive one, where early adopters take action voluntarily to reduce their risk. They understand their risk profile, they're able to see the gaps in what they're currently doing, and then they take affirmative action. And secondly, there are those adopters who've unfortunately suffered a serious incident of some kind, and that then becomes the catalyst for change. And lastly, there are those who don't take action, but that in itself becomes a choice, if not an action, because if you're accepting that risk every day, the risk is going to continue to exist, even if the action to potentially counteract it doesn't. So in summary, that organizational culture and aspiration for safety excellence is really the key driver for change and technology adoption. And those people with an aspiration to be better, to do the best that they possibly can, to get an advantage, they're the ones who ask, what would happen if we were to do this? Rather than, here's a good reason not to. Secondly, there's absolutely no way that a solution like this can deliver positive safety results without respecting the key actor in all of this, the driver. And respecting the driver encompasses a number of different things. Firstly, it's about ensuring driver privacy, which should be supported by the technology partner. If you want more information on how to respect this driver privacy and how to implement this in a privacy-friendly way, please contact me after the session. drivers should also be motivated to really own this process, to feel part of it in terms of risk mitigation. And that comes down to helping those drivers with factors like real-time feedback, giving them post-trip contextual information relating to their own driving performance, allowing them to own that process, which could be delivered via a driver engagement app and an incentivization program. And also, it's very important that companies highlight the fact that this kind of technology helps to disprove erroneous claims made against your drivers by other actors. The end results of this process, when properly applied, are optimized driver coaching effectiveness and crucially, and particularly crucially right now, everywhere in Europe, improved driver retention through visible investment in driver-focused duty of care technology. And when this is communicated properly, drivers stay in businesses for longer when they know they're being taken care of. Because, and most importantly of all, this is because all of this is about getting drivers home safely every single day. And last but not least for this session today, you need an effective and balanced procurement checklist with all the right questions. Now, I've put together some of the most important questions that, over my experience, I believe you need to be comfortable with the answers on before investing in video technology. And what I've done is split the checklist into two parts. The first part is about analyzing your current organizational visibility and road safety metrics. What are you already managing? What are you already measuring? What are the gaps potentially? Are there things that you aren't currently measuring? Is it because you can't measure them? And this will help you to understand the current level of need, understand the problems that you're trying to solve, and then potentially understanding the level of technology you need to help with those problems. And then the second part of this is then being able to compare and contrast potential partners. You need the right partner that matches the way that you see the world. How ambitious are you with safety? How ambitious is the partner that you're looking to put in? Is the technology up to scratch? Do they have the experience? Can they give you the confidence that they can take you on that right journey over time? Now, I'm going to leave this checklist with you rather than trying to read through every point on the screen today. So this is contained in the information pack, and we won't linger on the screen. The final part of the checklist is actually all around stakeholder management and expectation. And it's really prudent to consider all the business stakeholders within your business units that will benefit from the beneficial impacts of this type of solution. And if you look at it from a number of different perspectives, if you start by looking at the technology-enabled interventions that this type of video can bring to you, you can see how this cascades through the business into the behavioral outcomes of the drivers, through to the operational outcomes, through to then the real business outputs, such as improved safety, such as reduced costs of running the fleet, and then all the way through to things like brand reputation and sustainability and competitive advantage. So it's really important that all the key stakeholders within the organization understand that there is a real discernible and tangible benefit to what we're doing here. And all that remains for me now to say is thank you very much again for spending that time with me today. I really do hope that you found this session informative. I'm almost apologetic that it's such a short session to cover such a rich topic. And so if you would like further information on anything I've said today or anything I haven't said, including more in-depth success stories and further detail on driver privacy management, please feel free to connect with me and message me directly on LinkedIn. In the meantime, I really do hope that you enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you very much.